We're looking right now at a $410 billion piece of legislation approved by the House last week, largely on party lines, that we're beginning to debate today. It's 1,123 pages. That's interesting, Mr. President. Right here, it's accompanied by a 1,844-page statement of managers. You put them together, Mr. President, we got 2,967 pages of legislation. Not surprising, the measure has over 9,000 unnecessarily and wasteful earmarks. So much for the promise of change, Mr. President, so much for the promise of change. This may be, in all the years I've been coming to this floor to complain about the earmark pork barrel corruption that this system has bred, this may be probably the worst. Probably the worst. I just went through a campaign, Mr. President, where both candidates promised change in Washington, promised change from the wasteful, disgraceful, corrupting practice of earmark pork barrel spending. We have former members of Congress residing in federal prison. We have former congressional staffers under indictment and in prison. So what are we doing here? Not only business as usual, but an outrageous insult to the American people. Today, Mr. President, today, we find out that the unemployment in the great state of California just went over 10%. Just went over 10%. So what are we going to do? We're going to spend $1.7 million for pig odor research in Iowa. We're going to spend $2 million for the promotion of astronomy in Hawaii. Why do we need, I asked the senator from Hawaii, why do we need to spend $2 million to promote astronomy in Hawaii when unemployment is going up and the stock market is tanking? We need to really continue this wasteful process. $6.6 million for termite research in New Orleans, $2.1 million for the Center for Grape Genetics in New York. You'll notice that there's a state or a district or a town or a location associated with all of these projects. You'll notice that, Mr. President, because that's what it is. $1.7 million for a honeybee factory in West Laco, Texas. Forgive me if I mispronounce the name in the town in Texas. So here we are. Here we are promising the American people hope and change. And what do we got? Business as usual. And what does the administration say? What does the administration say? Mr. Peter Orszag, an individual I don't know, he brushed off questions during his appearance on This Week about whether the president would sign a spending bill that contains 9,000 earmarks. 9,000 earmarks, noting that during the campaign, President Obama said he would work to limit earmarks and make them more transparent. And his response is, this is last year's business. We want to just move on. Last year's business, the president will sign this appropriations bill into law. It's the president's business. It is the president of the United States business. It is the president of the United States business to do what he said. He stated when we were in debate seeking the support of the American people, where he said that he would work to eliminate earmarks. When in his pledge last September, President Obama said during the debate in Oxford, Mississippi, quote, "We need earmark reform, and when I'm president, I will go line by line to make sure we're not spending money unwisely." That's a quote of the promise that the President of the United States made to the American people in a debate with me in Oxford, Mississippi. So what is brought to the floor today? 9,000 earmarks, billions and billions of dollars of unneeded and wasteful spending, and the president's budget person says this is last year's business. We want to just move on. That's insulting to the American people. White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel appeared on Face the Nation. According to the New York Times, Mr. Emanuel said, quote, "Mr. Obama was not happy with the large number of earmarks in this bill." But Mr. Emanuel said the president had kept lawmakers from adding a single earmark to this $287 billion stimulus package and a $32.8 billion plan to the state children's health insurance program. And by the way, Mr. President, that statement is disingenuous on its face.